Hey guys.
Hey!
If you're anything like us, you probably didn't learn about money from school. Chances are that you probably learnt about money from home.
Today we want to explore 10 things that rich people teach their kids about money. That's right. Now, we have obviously not come from any money. Like literally, we grew up from households where there wasn't much money around. But having been on our journey towards financial independence, as well as getting to know various people with our circles changing over time, we've definitely gotten a firm grasp for what rich people teach their kids about money. So today we're going to unpack that. Do make sure you hang about because we're going to drop a lot of gems in this video today, okay? We're also going to be sharing a bonus point, so do make sure you hang about for that.
Guys, if you like the sound of this, why not give this video a like and send YouTube signals that you're loving the content that we're putting out.
Yeah, we'd really appreciate it as well if you hit the subscribe button because that really helps our channel to grow so that we can reach even more people and help them on their money journeys as well. All right, let's dive straight in. All right, so number one is that wealthy people teach their kids how to make money rather than how to earn money. Big difference, big difference. Making money and earning money. So earning money literally means that you've become a pro at swapping your time for money. Like you're good at getting a job and like just waiting for that paycheck, right? Making money, however, on the other hand, is about solving problems. It's about creating value. It's about helping as many people as possible. And by doing that, you help yourself as well, yeah? So it's about being enterprising. And you know, wealthy people are very good at teaching their kids how you actually make money from things like assets, which we're going to be touching on later on.
Yes. Number two is that wealthy people teach their children the difference between assets and liabilities. Simply put, assets put money into your pocket, whereas liabilities take money out of your pocket. And so they teach their children from a young age to know the difference and encourage their children to buy assets and discourage their children from getting too many liabilities. And if they did want some of those liabilities, well, why not create an asset that will help to fund that liability?
Do you know what? One thing that reminds me of is the degree to which like people sponsor their lifestyles. So lots of people who don't have a lot of money tend to sponsor their lifestyles with liabilities. Like actually they live off debt.
Yeah.
Whereas like, and we're going to talk about this later, but like wealthy people use debt in a very different way. They use that to actually create more wealth.
We'll touch on that.
All right, number three is that wealthy people teach their kids the importance of delayed gratification. Let's be real, right? Becoming wealthy takes time, right? And it requires patience.
It's true.
You know? And I think this is one thing that personally, like our generation kind of struggle with, right?
Yeah.
Is that I want to get it now.
Especially with that viral kind of culture that people kind of aspire towards. It's not for everyone, and you know, people who do go viral, they've had to put a lot of work in behind the scenes before they just got that moment. But you know,
and they might have been lucky as well.
Yes, true.
You know,
true.
so that there's that element as well. But true wealth actually takes time to build.
Yeah.
And so that delayed gratification is something that like we should be doing everything possible, you know, to teach our children as well.
Absolutely. Point number four is that wealthy people teach their children how to use debt to build their wealth rather than sponsoring their lifestyle using debt. And we touched on this earlier, but simply put, they teach their children the importance of paying off their personal debt, but then using debt to build wealth could be, for example, buying an investment property, which you're not going to live in, but you'll be generating an income through the rent that comes through your investment property. So that's an example of using debt to help you build wealth. And
that's a powerful way of building wealth. Like really, really powerful way of building wealth. So even though like we talk about here on this channel the importance of becoming mortgage free, paying off your debts and things like that, you know, that's our personal circumstance and we love getting rid of our personal debt, but make no mistake, we are also good at using debt to build wealth.
Yes.
Yeah, in owning assets and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, provided there's an actual business case behind that. Because debt's cheap. Debt's actually cheaper than equity, but that's a whole different topic. But from a business perspective, it's actually important on your money journey to understand like the power of using debt. But I think that skill is acquired.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, and we're going to come to this with the investment point I'm going to make later. It's not just about like getting involved because everyone's getting involved. It's about acquiring the skill of almost figuring out what's the return on investment. How do you build how do you build a business case for how you use debt to build your wealth?
Exactly. And if, for example, it's the opposite, you're using it for lifestyle, you're buying expensive cars, watches, trainers, whatever, is there a return on your investment? You might gain some views or some looks by passerbys, I don't know.
Haters! You're going to get haters.
Yeah, I was going to say admiration from the other sex, but maybe haters too. So yeah, it's just like weighing up, you know, what is the reason behind this expense?
It's funny you talk about watches and all that. Like, people don't actually like you because you've got all those things. They almost look at themselves and wish they were in your shoes, more than like saying, "Oh yeah, you're doing well" and all that. It's actually more like, well, actually, okay, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah. Number 5 is that wealthy people teach their kids the power of ownership and control.
Powerful.
That's a big one. Think about any wealthy person you know right now, or rich. We use those two words interchangeably for this video. The one thing they will have is either ownership or ownership and control. By that I mean, like, ownership means you own stuff. You own things that have value. You own properties, you own equities, you own shares in other companies, you've invested via venture capital, you're an angel investor. There's all these like myriad of things that mean that you've got ownership. Control means that like you're able to have a voice, yeah? So depending on how much ownership you've got of something, you can make certain decisions, you've got voting rights and things like that. And those things are things that wealthy people over time actually is part of their normal language. They just talk about it because it's a part of their normal life. And so their kids hear about it and they pick it up. Like, it's like us, for example, at home talking about like different ways that we might generate an income, and our kids hear about it and they're suddenly like, oh, I'm going to go and start my own thing. I'm going to go and because the programming is happening by them hearing, you know, hearing the language that's coming out
of our mouths.
Yeah.
So point number 6 is that wealthy people teach their children how to invest to get a return. So just using an example of our children, they know that they have their own little investment portfolio, and now and again we do show them their investment portfolio and we show them how it's performing. So they know that, you know, there's delayed gratification, like we mentioned earlier. By investing your money and leaving it in for the long term, you will start to generate, you know, a return.
And they know that money works on money.
Yes, exactly.
That's a huge differential, isn't it? Because it's not that, you know, because with like almost that poverty mindset, you're always thinking in units. You're almost like, I will swap 1 hour to get £20. Or I'll swap 1 hour to get £30, right? It's that it's like it's linear. Whereas with investing compounds.
Exactly.
It's actually like money working in money. Like you put a pound in, it generates 10p. That pound generates a return and that 10p generates a return. The next year it carries on. And that's a powerful distinction.
Yeah, and for them to be able to see it visually as well, that's really important.
Yeah. All right, number 7, and I love this one. Wealthy people teach their kids how to network and build powerful relationships. I saw this one at work when I used to work in the asset management business, in the investment business. And, you know, our clients were high net worths and super high net worths, people who are like multi-millionaires or billionaires. And what you saw with those people, what I saw with those people was the way in which they engaged their kids. Which is very fascinating because like they would get them internships. Like you hear like, oh, I've just got you an internship at JP Morgan because their buddy maybe runs like some big department at JP Morgan. And the reason they're doing all those things is to build social capital. It's all about networking. It's all about building relationships. And those relationships become their wealth building tools in the future.
Absolutely.
They become the things they call upon.
When they graduate and they've already got their graduate job sorted for them.
Already. And on top of that, their business is sorted because in the future, when they start their own thing, when they're running their own business, they've got the contacts. They're hitting them up for those jobs. They're hitting them up for those contracts. You know, and that's how it works. It begins with social capital.
And you know, it's funny because you might be listening thinking, oh, well, I don't work in those big corporate firms or, but just think about the network that you have. You would be surprised, like if you spoke to some of your friends and their friends who have certain jobs or certain small businesses, you'll be surprised, like just having those conversations with them and saying that, you know, your child has this interest. Is there a possibility that they could, you know, maybe do work experience and stuff like that? You know, it's really something to consider.
Do you know, that's actually a really good example. I remember my mum, like when like I wasn't even an accountant. I wasn't even a trainee accountant. I would have begged to be a trainee accountant. What she did was she contacted her accountant, who had a place in like Gravesend in Kent, and she was like, "Oh, can my son, who one day wants to be an accountant, can he come and work?" This is like one of those like two-person accountancy firms.
Yeah.
She was using her network.
Yeah.
Like literally, it was as small as that.
But still,
you know, and I was sniffing at it, going, "Oh wow, this is not like Big Four. This is not Ernst and Young. This is not PwC." It was like a two-person accountancy firm. But the things I learned from there, I still use today.
Amazing.
And the connections built, like, helped me, you know, in my kind of trying to get into a career in accountancy and finance, and still help me today because, like, I acquired a good skill set by seeing my mum use her network to expand my network.
Love it. Point number 8 is that wealthy people teach their children how to start a business and get other people to work for them. So here again, we are reiterating the point that you don't necessarily have to work for money, but create systems and a business where the money can work for you.
We obviously run our own business.
Yeah.
Both sides of our families, we've had people run businesses in different ways and to different extents. But I just remember very clearly, like, my mum telling me, like, you know, you don't become rich from your job. Like, if you want to get rich, you don't get rich from your job. Now, there is an exception, I have to say, because there are people, they're probably in the 0.1%. They're not even in the 1%, they're probably less than 1%, who might have share options or who have those very high-level C-level jobs and be a COO or CFO or a CTO and so on, right? And those people are paid really well and they're really smart and they've got some ownership. Remember, everything comes back to ownership. And I talked about that before. It's not just about income, ownership. If they've got some ownership in the business, then they stand to share in the bounty, in the retained earnings of the business. That's the difference with a business, because with a business, you have the opportunity to build retained earnings.
That's it.
And those retained earnings then, you know, can be drawn in different ways. Can be drawn, you know, to pay your dividends and what have you. You know, and if you're a shareholder of that business, you are absolutely laughing. So the thing I love about the point you made about like teaching their kids to start a business is that businesses, if done well, there's no cap. Because in a job, you get a contract that just says, "Hey, look, you're on like 50K.
And if you wanted to increase your earnings, you would either have to increase your hours or get another job, basically, because like you said, there is a cap to your earnings, whereas with a business, you know, depending on what business it is and you do it right, there is no cap.
There's the freedom. And it took me a long time to really, for the penny to properly drop. I mean, like when you've got a job, and I had a good job, paying really well, paying really well, right? But that job paying really well is a proper carrot. It's actually much harder to let go of that carrot because you're like, I've actually got it really good. Like this job's really good. Pays for our holidays, pays for private school, it pays for all the things that you have going on. But it's not until like you almost the scales fall out of your eyes that you realize, you know, unless you see. And I've got so many examples like that, you know, like just seeing parents make like some insanely good moves that you know you will never ever ever, even if you worked in your job for like 20 years, you will never be able to, like buying land and making some like some mad moves, and you're like, wowza. I can't make this move. Even if I was the CEO of my the company, like I wouldn't be able to make that move.
So interesting.
Yeah. So this next one I really love, which is that wealthy people teach their kids that money is infinite. You ever come across people who don't have a lot of money? And we've been in that position. You know, like we've come from nothing, right? Where you feel a lot of scarcity when it comes to money. And you always feel like money is running out all the time. But the truth is, in the real world out there of, like, in reality of money, there's so much money in the world. So much money. And then you always wonder, like, why is it the money is in some people's hands, but not in other people's hands?
Good question.
And the truth is this, is that money flows to where it gets looked after.
100%.
That's the truth. So money goes to where it generates a return. So if you've acquired the skill set of being able to say, oh, I've got 10K and I can turn 10K into 20K or whatever it is, and you've developed the ROI mindset that we talked about, then money will always flow towards you. Because money flows, remember, to where it gets looked after, to where it gets a return.
I mean, sorry to use the example of people who win the lottery and, you know, within a short space of time, the money ends back into those people who know how to, you know, use it and look after it.
So never ever think to yourself, and I know it's hard to actually accept this as truth, but it is true. There is an infinite amount of money in the world. Like, whether it's digital money or countable money or whatever, like, there's so much of it in the world. And if you don't have any of it right now, the real question is why, isn't it? That's what it all comes down to, is which of the things we've shared so far do you feel that, wow, okay, I hadn't thought of it that way, or perhaps I'm lacking this in my life. And that's okay, that's why we're sharing the points, is for us all to almost pause and ask ourselves, what's the learning in this video for me? What is the learning for me? What do I need to do next from having watched this video?
Okay, so point number 10 is that rich people teach their children that money is able to buy them freedom and independence.
Love me some freedom.
I mean, just speaking like from our example of not, you know, running our own business and having that flexibility to work in our own terms when we want to work, and so we're able to be more present with the children, whether it's that's taking them to school all the time, attending all their activities, and even just like being able to take a month off, like we're planning to do next week. Yes, literally taking off the whole month, shutting down, and you know, we've only been afforded the opportunity because of the business that we have set up for ourselves, where we've been able to buy ourselves that freedom and that independence.
Yeah, but the thing is, you gotta remember that the only reason that freedom, that opportunity to even do what we're doing today is even possible is because we spent a whole decade looking after our own finances.
Yes.
So I always say financial independence is an enabler.
Yes.
It's literally, because you could have just carried on in your job.
Yeah.
You know, we're in a good place financially. You could have carried on in your job, and I could have carried on in my job. Or us shifting to do what we're doing today is actually optional. Like, could have just like said, oh yeah, carry on in your job. But then this is the key point. This is the piece I really love about this journey. When people talk about like financial independence and stuff like that, it's fantastic if you really understand the power of it, which is that it enables. It's not just a destination of like, hey, I'm FI, life's good. It's actually more, well, actually, what else has it enabled?
Absolutely. For our case, because of the fact that, like you said, we paid off our mortgage in 7 years, so we don't actually have that big overhead where we have to even like worry, you know, on a monthly basis. It's that freedom, like you said, we could work if we wanted to, we could run a business if we wanted to do. We have that optionality.
Point remains, which is that what we're saying is that wealthy people teach their children that the ultimate goal when it comes to money is not so that you can go, hey, look at me, look at my flashy car, look at my flashy clothes.
Yeah.
It's really so you can say, do you know what? I'm in control of my time. And I decide what I do with it when I want to, and who I want to do it with. And I have the independence and freedom, and I don't wake up stressed. And in our own words, you've got a life of financial joy.
Peace of mind, definitely.
Well, that's not the end. We promised you guys a bonus point, which is that wealthy people teach their children to keep on learning. Do you know what? This one is just like, it's one of those ones where, you know how when you're in school, you always think, oh yeah, I can't wait to finish my GCSEs, then you start your A-levels, I can't wait to finish my A-levels, then my university, I can't wait to finish my university.
Yeah.
And then you think, like, as soon as you finish, you're like, yes, my life is finally started. When in actual fact, like, it's actually, like, if you're doing it well, you should be like learning like every day. I remember reading about Warren Buffett and how like he spends, I believe it's about 60 to 80% of his daylight hours reading.
Wow.
And I was like, what? That says a lot. That means that this guy is just literally soaking up. Just picks up a book, anything, which means he knows everything. He knows like moving parts. He knows when things are like a distraction. He knows when like there's an opportunity.
He can connect the dots.
He can connect the dots.
Yeah.
And I remember as well, when I used to work in venture capital, we used to have this individual as a chairman. Whenever I'd come into the office, like, I'd just see him always reading the FT, either on his iPad or on his physical paper copy. You know, so the point here is about learning, and there are different ways you can learn things. You can either learn from people, you know, like we're in masterminds and we find that particularly helpful to be challenged by other people's ideas and other people's thoughts and things like that. And for those people to challenge us, you know, and vice versa. And you take tangible things away that you can go and apply it in your own life. You can learn through Audible, you know.
Yes.
Audible is it took us a while to get Audible, actually.
It did, but we've got it.
Yeah, we've got it.
And
we love it. It's actually pretty awesome. You can get coaching. We were just speaking to someone, you know, you can get a life coach, you can get a mentor. But the key is actually the love of learning.
Always be learning.
Yeah, like I can't actually think of a day of my life passing by without feeling like I've learned something. I'm always coming out and going like, listen, I just learned this new thing. And this is the best part. This is the best part. If you think about it, what we're doing on this YouTube channel is that we're literally being paid to learn.
Yeah, that's very true.
Literally everything we do on this channel is about us learning stuff
and then sharing it.
And sharing it. I mean, I think that's literally the best
brilliant.
Job.
It's brilliant.
Isn't it the best job?
Yeah,
you get paid to learn.
Yeah.
On that note, people, we hope you enjoyed today's video. It'd be great to hear from you guys in the comments. Which of the 10 things we shared, or actually 11 things we shared, really resonated for you? Like, which one did you think, do you know what? That one's the icing on the cake. That one really hit for me. Yeah? Jump in the comments and let us know if you really enjoyed today's video. We'd really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. If you hit the subscribe button, hit it.
Show us some love, guys.
Yeah.
Alright, like Ken said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Share it with somebody who you think will find it valuable. And as ever, guys, in all things, be thankful and seek joy. Take care.
Take care, people. Get wealthy and help other people on the journey.
That's it. God bless. Bye.
Take care.